Hello, I'm Mrs. Baker, and I am making this video to help you with assignment 3.06a. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to rewrite an expression or an equation so that you can have a squared binomial. It might sound confusing, so let me show you what I mean. Basically, we want to rewrite our equation so that it looks something like this. Basically, you just need a squared binomial in it. So we're just going to play around, do a little manipulating of the equation to make it work out the way we want. So let's do this. So I'm going to do 3 examples. The first example is pretty simple. The second example is going to require some factoring. And then the third example is actually going to look like the ones on your assignment that you're asked to complete the square to decide to be able to show what shape it is. Is it a circle, parabola, or other? Okay, let's get started. So the first one, x squared plus 10, x plus 5 equals 0. First step is we want this guy out of my way. So I'm going to rewrite it as x squared plus 10x. I'm going to leave a little bit of space here, and to move this 5 to the other side, I have to subtract 5 to both sides so that I have a negative 5 on the right side. Now this is the fun part where I get to add something in to manipulate this equation. So I need to make this something that is factorable into a square. So if I add something to the left, I can add whatever I want as long as I add the same thing to the right. Okay. So what would this factor to? Remember, I need these to be exactly the same. So to figure out what number needs to go here, I divide 10 by 2. 10 divided by 2 is positive 5. Now that would get me 5x plus 5x gets me that 10x. Now this tells me what I need to add to make this expression the same as this expression. The constant I need is 5 times 5, which is 25. So if I add 25 to the left, I have to add 25 to the right to keep the equation balanced. So now let's simplify. Negative 5 plus 25 is 20. And then now I can rewrite x plus 5 times x plus 5 is the same thing as x plus 5 squared equals 20. So what I've done here is I've just rewritten this equation is the exact same thing as this equation, but this one is then I completed the square because I have my squared binomial on the left side. So let's do that again with slightly more, slightly harder problem. Really not that difficult, but if this was like level 1, this is like level 1.5. Okay, so the next problem we're doing is 2x squared minus 12x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, I'm going to start this the same way I did the other one by moving this guy out of my way. So 2x squared minus 12x equals, I need to subtract 6 to both sides, so I'd have a negative 6 on the right. Now, before I can factor this, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to complete this square here when you've got this coefficient of 2 on the x squared. I need that coefficient to be 1. So I'm going to factor this 2 out. So I'm left with 2. I factor it out, I have x squared, and then factor the 2 from negative 12, and I have negative 6x. Now I'm going to have to add something here. So this looks a lot more manageable, like something I can figure out how to complete the square with. But if I add something to the left, I have to keep my equation balanced, and I have to add that same thing to the right. But notice, I'm not really adding whatever number I put in parentheses here. I'm doing 2 times that number. So when I add it to my right side, I need to make sure I multiply whatever number I add in here times 2 to keep it balanced. Okay, now let's complete the square. So if I were to factor this, I've got x, what's the number I need here? Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So negative 3x and negative 3x gives me my negative 6x. So in order to make these true, what's the actual constant I need to add? Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And if I add 9 to the left, I have to add 9 over here. But again, I wasn't really adding 9, I was adding 2 times 9, which is 18. I've got that accounted for there. So simplify the right, negative 6 plus 18 is 12. And then just rewrite this. Right, x minus 3 times x minus 3 is x minus 3 squared. And that equals 12. Okay, so I rewrote this equation. These two equations are exactly the same, but this one I then completed the square. Okay. Let's do our final example that looks more similar to your assignment. So for my final example, x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 10y minus 24 equals 0. Algebra 2 is a lot of just organization. You can stay organized with your work. It will help you solve these problems. So the first step in order to complete these squares is I'm going to reorganize it. So I'm going to start with my x's. So x squared, and then I'm going to do this negative 4x. And I'm going to leave space right here so that I can complete the square. And then I'm going to write my y's out. Y squared plus 10y plus blank. And this 24, don't need it, don't want it, move it to the other side. So it becomes positive 24 because I'm adding 24 to those sides. Now if I add something to the left, I have to add it to the right, and I'm actually going to be adding 2 different numbers to the right, or to the left, well, and the right. Okay, now I can go ahead and factor these so that we've got perfect squares. So I've got this guy and this one to work with. Okay, so let's do the x's. So if I factor this, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So I've got the negative 2x and the negative 2x gives me negative 4x. What constant would I have when I multiplied this out? Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Now let's do the y's. Well, in order to get the 10y, I'm going to need a 5y and a 5y, because 10 divided by 2 is 5. So what constant would I end up with? 5 times 5 is 25. So if I add 4 and 25 to the left, I need to add 4 and 25 to the right. 24 plus 4 is 28, plus 25 is 53. Now just rewrite this. And there you go, bada boom, bada bang. And then the way this is written, it shows us that this fits the definition of a circle. Okay, so that's how you complete the square. Now, obviously, I did not address every type of question that's going to come up on this assignment. So if you have questions, absolutely reach out to me through email or show up in my office hours and we can work through some problems together. If my office hours don't work for you, jump on LSS Live and they will connect you with a math teacher that can help you. You have a great day and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.